Spider-Man Far From Home is a great movie. Now, is it a great Spider-Man movie? Yeah, it is actually. There are plenty of Spider-Man moments that will please any fanboy's heart. Having Peter being torn between his superhero life and his regular life is classic Spider-Man, and we get a lot of that in this movie. Mysterio, one of the oldest and most classic Spider-Man villains, is given a proper modernization that not only preserves his character, but also places him in perfectly into the MCU. While the movie is very obviously targeting high school teenagers, my old ass still enjoyed it. To be honest, the first part of this movie was very boring to me. It was funny, but I couldn't care less about the teenage high school stuff because, like I said, I'm an old ass man with knee replacements. It gets more exciting when Mysterio and Nick Fury get involved, but it didn't really work for me until the halfway point when we discover Mysterio's true intentions. It's not that the first part wasn't good to me, I was just eager to see Spider-Man, and the build up to it feels less like an action movie or superhero movie and more like a coming of age film, which was not what I was there to see. But I'm not the target audience, the teens are, and I think mixing the superhero genre with a coming of age teen comedy creates something that speaks to more teens today. As much as I would love to see a more mature Spider-Man, it makes my heart happy to see a new generation of teens fall in love with Spider-Man. But I still want more Spider-Man. I feel like there would be more Spider-Man without the inclusion of Nick Fury, Shield, and Happy. Nick Fury was fine, Sam Jackson is very entertaining, but I feel like Spider-Man and Mysterio could have bonded without the inclusion of Shield. Sure, Nick Fury is the perfect plot device to get Peter back into the suit when he doesn't want to be, but less Shield would have meant more time with Mysterio and Spider-Man, because there isn't much of that. They only fight each other twice, and the second time was very short, and Happy did not need to be here at all. All he did was hook up with Aunt May and give Peter a motivational speech. I feel like Aunt May could have given that speech. You can't have Spider-Man without Uncle Ben, but that's what they're doing, and that's okay. I mean, it's a reimagining of the character, and it makes him a different kind of relatable by having a parent or guardian that is single and also dating. And while we're on the subject of the new Spider-Man, I hate that Peter isn't poor. That was a huge part of the character. Seeing him struggle with money is what made the character more sympathetic and relatable. It's another layer to what makes Peter's character so complex. His life as Peter is depressing, so when he's Spider-Man, he's the complete opposite. We haven't seen much of that because this comic book world doesn't care about preserving secret identities. Classic Peter suffers from having split personalities like all his villains do, but I guess Disney doesn't want to make Peter's life too sad because they're a bunch of babies. Well, grow up. That first Mysterio sequence was godlike. When the walls start changing and Jakey's voice starts haunting Spider-Man, I roared. Up until that point, I was waiting for that sweet Spider-Man moment, and this was it. One of the best on-screen moments ever. Having multiple Mysterios, Spider-Man surrounded by mirrors, and my favorite, having Spider-Man be trapped in a globe and then the globe turns into Mysterio's head. Oh my lord. All that is classic Spider-Man Mysterio stuff. And Zombie Iron Man was a perfect way to include this new Spider-Man's traumas. And it's a reference to the Zombie Iron Man on the cover of the first issue of Marvel Zombies 2. So that's pretty cool. And wow, what a way to please the Tobey Spider-Man fanboys like myself by having J.K. Simmons return as J. Jonah Jameson.
You serious?
The post-credit scene was the second time I roared in the theater, and the kids in front of me had no idea why. But that's okay. Disney threw all us old Spider-Man fans a bone with this one. It's like their way of saying, hey, we still appreciate you old weirdo Spider-Man fans. Thank you. And I also love how they modernized J. Jonah Jameson. Instead of a newspaper company, the Daily Bugle is a controversial news website like InfoWars or the Young Turks or any other of these popular controversial news alternatives. And then Mysterio frames Spider-Man just like he did in his first appearance. Perfect. Far From Home is a great teen movie, as it should be since Spider-Man has always been for the teens. Personally, I can't wait to see a more mature and confident Spider-Man that's not afraid to get his hands dirty. I know it's coming since it's already rumored that Tom Holland might do like 9 Spider-Man movies. Knowing Marvel, they're gonna give us a movie for every step in Peter's life. All I gotta say is, I'm down.
Pay you for what? Standing there? The planetarium tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. There's the door.